We live in a world that rewards noise. The louder you are, the more attention you get. The more you push, the more you seem to achieve. But what if I told you that true power, real influence, doesn't come from shouting? It comes from silence. Think about the most powerful people in the world. They don't chase, they don't beg, they don't explain themselves over and over. Instead, they master the art of restraint. They move in silence, and everything they need naturally aligns with them. Because here's the truth: when you stop forcing, when you stop chasing, and when you start trusting, life unfolds in ways you never expected. It's not about doing nothing, it's about knowing when to act and when to let things come to you. So today, I want to challenge you to embrace silence, not as weakness, but as strategy. Because when you learn to stay silent, to observe, and to let go of unnecessary noise, you don't lose control, you gain it. Silence is often misunderstood. Many people associate power with volume, with the ability to dominate conversations, command attention, and make their presence known. But in reality, true power comes from the ability to remain silent when everyone else feels the need to fill the space with words. Silence is a choice, a deliberate act of control that shifts the dynamics of any situation. When you walk into a room and say nothing, people notice. The energy shifts. They wonder what you're thinking, what you know that they don't. Silence creates intrigue, and intrigue commands attention. It forces others to lean in, to pay closer attention to your movements, your expressions, and your presence. Instead of trying to be heard, you become someone worth listening to. In conversations, those who stay silent the longest often have the upper hand. They listen, they observe, they analyze. They allow others to reveal their thoughts, their emotions, and sometimes even their weaknesses. People tend to fill silence with words, often speaking more than they should, giving away more information than they intended. Meanwhile, the silent observer gathers insight, processes the situation, and responds with precision rather than reaction. Silence also conveys confidence. Those who are comfortable with silence do not feel the need to prove themselves with constant chatter. They do not seek validation through words. Instead, they let their presence do the talking. Their restraint communicates strength, self-assurance, and control over their emotions. Others naturally respect them, drawn to their quiet certainty. Mastering silence is not about withdrawal or passivity. It is about knowing when to speak and when to listen. It is about recognizing that words have weight, and when used sparingly, they become even more powerful. When you stop chasing, the right things naturally come to you. We are conditioned to believe that the harder we chase something, the more likely we are to get it. Whether it's success, relationships, or opportunities, we assume that relentless pursuit is the only way forward. But the reality is, chasing often creates resistance. The more you run after something, the more you communicate lack of trust, lack of confidence, and lack of belief that it will come to you. Think about a time when you desperately wanted something, a job, a relationship, or a goal. And despite all your effort, it seemed to slip further away. Now, recall a moment when you let go, when you stopped forcing an outcome, and suddenly things fell into place. This isn't a coincidence. It's the power of alignment. When you stop chasing, you create space. You shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. Instead of grasping at something, you position yourself as someone who naturally attracts it. People, opportunities, and success gravitate toward those who are centered, composed, and intentional. Desperation repels, but confidence attracts. When you act from a place of trust in yourself, in your abilities, and in the timing of life, you naturally become a magnet for what you desire. You start to embody the qualities that draw the right things toward you effortlessly. This doesn't mean you stop working toward your goals. It means you stop forcing outcomes. You take inspired action, but you also understand that what's truly meant for you doesn't need to be chased. It will recognize you when you're ready. You don't have to beg for opportunities, relationships, or success. When you stand firm in your value, they will come to you on their own. Noise is a distraction, silence is a strategy. We live in a world that thrives on noise, constant notifications, endless conversations, and a pressure to always be seen and heard. Society tells us that if we're not speaking, we're falling behind. If we're not making noise, we're being overlooked. But the truth is, most of the noise around us is just that, distraction. It pulls us away from focus, from clarity, and from the power of intentional silence. Silence is not a lack of action, it's a conscious decision to step back and observe. When you stay silent, you remove yourself from unnecessary conflict. You avoid reacting impulsively to situations that don't serve you. You gain the ability to see things from a broader perspective instead of getting lost in the chaos of the moment. People who constantly seek attention through noise rarely hold real influence. They talk more than they listen, react more than they reflect, and spread themselves thin instead of conserving their energy for meaningful moments. On the other hand, those who embrace silence operate differently. They move with intention, choosing their words wisely and letting their actions speak louder than their voices. In negotiation, in leadership, and in personal growth, silence is a tool that gives you an advantage. It makes others reveal their thoughts while you remain composed. It allows you to process information deeply, making smarter decisions. It creates a sense of presence that demands respect. The most powerful people understand this. Noise is temporary, but silence is timeless. The more you learn to embrace quiet, the more control you gain over your own life. When the world around you is loud and chaotic, silence becomes your greatest weapon, allowing you to stay ahead without ever having to force your way through. People reveal their true intentions when you say less. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They rush to fill the gaps with words, often revealing more than they intended. When you resist the urge to over-explain, justify, or react immediately, you create space for others to expose their true thoughts, feelings, and motives. Silence is a mirror. It reflects what is real. In conversations, notice how people respond when you pause instead of jumping in. Those who are genuine will remain steady, comfortable in the stillness. But those who have something to hide, those driven by insecurity or manipulation, will often stumble, trying to fill the silence with justifications or unnecessary details. They reveal what they're truly thinking without realizing it. This is why silence is such a powerful tool in business, relationships, and negotiations. When you say less, people will naturally fill in the blanks, sometimes giving away their fears, weaknesses, or unspoken intentions. The more you listen, the more you understand. The less you react, the more control you maintain. Silence also allows you to test loyalty. If you pull back and stop oversharing, observe who remains connected to you and who drifts away. Some people are only interested in what they can take from you, your energy, your ideas, your validation. When you become more reserved, their frustration will expose their real motives. The key is patience. Instead of seeking immediate answers, let people show you who they are. Let them talk, let them explain, let them reveal themselves without interference. Because the less you say, the more you see, and when you see clearly, you gain the power to make decisions that serve you rather than ones driven by illusion or manipulation. Energy flows where attention goes. Choose wisely. Every thought you entertain, every conversation you engage in, and every situation you focus on is shaping your reality. Your energy is a currency, and wherever you spend it, that area of your life expands. If you constantly dwell on negativity, drama, or things outside your control, you're unknowingly feeding them with your attention. But when you intentionally direct your focus toward growth, peace, and self-improvement, you begin to see powerful shifts. Think about the moments when you've felt drained. Was it because of the actual event, or was it because of the energy you gave it? Often, it's not the situation itself that affects us, but our reaction to it. The more attention you give to problems, toxic people, or things that frustrate you, the more they take up space in your mind, dictating your emotions and actions. On the other hand, when you shift your focus to what truly matters, your goals, your purpose, your peace, you regain control. This is why silence is so effective. When you stay quiet, you stop feeding unnecessary distractions, you stop engaging in meaningless debates, stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you, and stop chasing things that aren't meant for you. Instead, you conserve your energy for what actually moves you forward. Highly successful people understand this principle. They don't waste energy on negativity. They don't react to every criticism, nor do they let small distractions derail them. They remain focused, knowing that their energy is too valuable to be spent on things that don't contribute to their vision. If you want to change your life, start by changing your focus, because wherever your attention goes, your energy follows, and that is what ultimately shapes your reality. Confidence isn't loud, it's composed and steady. Many people mistake confidence for volume. They assume that the loudest person in the room is the most self-assured, the one who dominates conversations, boasts about achievements, or constantly seeks validation. But real confidence doesn't need to be announced. It doesn't seek approval. It simply exists, calm, unwavering, and undeniable. Think about the people who command the most respect. They aren't the ones desperately trying to prove themselves. They are the ones who walk into a room with quiet assurance, who speak only when necessary, and who hold themselves with a presence that speaks louder than words. Their confidence comes from within, not from external validation. They know their worth, so they don't need to advertise it. In moments of pressure, true confidence is revealed not through noise, but through composure. The person who remains steady in chaos, who doesn't react impulsively, who doesn't feel the need to defend themselves against every criticism, that is the person who holds real power. When you are truly confident, silence becomes your ally. You don't have to force people to see your value. They recognize it through your actions, your restraint, and your ability to stay grounded in any situation. In relationships, in business, and in life, people are drawn to those who exude quiet strength. They trust those who don't feel the need to overshare or seek constant reassurance. They respect those who move with purpose rather than desperation. Confidence isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about knowing who you are, standing firm in that truth, and allowing your presence to do the talking. The less you try to convince the world, the more the world believes in you. The most successful people listen more than they speak. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, those who master the art of listening gain the greatest advantage. Most people enter conversations focused on what they will say next, eager to make their point, defend their position, or prove their worth. But truly successful individuals do the opposite. They listen first, speak last, and in doing so, they gain valuable insight that others miss. Listening is not just about hearing words, it's about understanding what is not being said. It's about reading between the lines, picking up on emotions, and recognizing intentions. When you stay silent and pay attention, you learn how people think, what motivates them, and where their true priorities lie. This is why great leaders, negotiators, and visionaries spend more time observing than talking. They don't waste words. They use them with precision. When you listen more, you naturally develop stronger relationships. People feel valued when they are truly heard, and in turn, they open up, revealing more than they would if they felt the need to compete for attention. Listening also helps you avoid unnecessary conflicts. Instead of reacting emotionally or making assumptions, you take the time to understand the full picture before responding. Silence in a conversation is a position of strength. It allows you to control the pace, analyze situations without bias, and respond with wisdom rather than impulse. The loudest person in the room may get attention, but the one who listens holds the real power. If you want to be successful in any area of life, learn to embrace silence. Observe carefully, and only speak when it truly adds value. Silence creates mystery, and mystery creates value. In a world where people overshare, constantly seeking attention and validation, those who remain reserved naturally stand out. Mystery is powerful. It draws people in, makes them curious, and forces them to pay closer attention. When you say less, people wonder more. They begin to value your words, your presence, and your actions because they are not easily accessible. Think about the most intriguing individuals you've encountered. They are not the ones who constantly talk about themselves, their plans, or their emotions. They are the ones who leave room for interpretation, who maintain an air of unpredictability, and who reveal just enough to spark interest, but never enough to be fully understood. This sense of mystery makes them more attractive, more respected, and more influential. In relationships, silence builds intrigue. When you don't immediately reveal everything about yourself, others are drawn to you, wanting to learn more. In business, those who don't reveal their strategies too soon hold the upper hand. In leadership, those who speak with purpose rather than impulse earn greater respect. Mystery also prevents people from taking you for granted. When you are too predictable, too available, or too eager to explain yourself, others may stop valuing your presence. But when you maintain a level of restraint, people naturally lean in, seeking your insight, your approval, and your time. The key is balance. Silence should not be mistaken for avoidance or coldness. It should be used as a tool to protect your energy, maintain control, and increase your value. The less you reveal, the more power you hold. Because when people don't know everything about you, they can't define you. And that alone makes you irreplaceable. Your emotions lose power when you don't react. Most people believe power comes from action, responding immediately, defending themselves, proving a point. But real strength is found in restraint. When you don't react to negativity, criticism, or provocation, you take away its ability to control you. Silence becomes your shield, protecting your peace and keeping you in control. Every time you react emotionally, you hand over your power. You allow someone else to dictate your state of mind, influence your decisions, and disrupt your focus. But when you remain silent, you force the other person to deal with their own emotions instead of feeding off yours. They expect a reaction, but when they don't get it, they lose control, not you. This is why the most disciplined people don't engage in every argument, don't respond to every insult, and don't feel the need to explain themselves to those who have already made up their minds. They understand that silence is often more powerful than words. It forces others to reflect, question, and even doubt their own actions. In conflict, silence shifts the dynamic. It creates discomfort, making the other person reveal more than they intended. In negotiations, silence forces the other side to speak first, often giving away valuable information. In relationships, silence allows you to step back, observe, and respond with clarity instead of emotion. Mastering this skill requires patience. It means resisting the urge to defend yourself when misunderstood, staying composed when provoked, and allowing time to work in your favor. The less you react, the more control you gain, not just over the situation, but over yourself. And when you control yourself, nothing and no one can shake your peace. Silence makes your presence felt without effort. In a world where people constantly compete for attention, those who speak the least often stand out the most. Presence isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about carrying an energy that commands respect without demanding it. The most influential individuals don't have to prove their worth through excessive words. They let their presence, their actions, and their silence speak for them. Have you ever noticed how some people enter a room, say little, yet everyone takes notice? It's not what they say, it's how they carry themselves. Their confidence is unspoken, their energy undeniable. They understand that true influence isn't about talking more, it's about making every word and every action count. When you embrace silence, people begin to pay closer attention. They lean in when you finally speak because they know your words hold weight. They respect your space because you don't seek validation. They remember you not because you tried to impress them, but because your presence left an impact. This is the essence of quiet power. It's why great leaders, thinkers, and innovators are often reserved. They don't chase attention, they attract it naturally. They don't seek approval, they move with certainty. They don't waste energy on meaningless conversations, they invest it where it matters. Silence gives you an aura of mystery, confidence, and self-assurance. It forces people to notice you for who you are, not just for what you say. And when you master the ability to be heard without speaking too much, you gain something most people spend their entire lives chasing: respect, influence, and an undeniable presence. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy. It is the foundation of power, presence, and influence. In a world that rushes to speak, those who master restraint gain the advantage. When you say less, you observe more. When you resist reacting, you maintain control. When you embrace silence, you let your presence speak louder than words. The greatest minds, the strongest leaders, and the most respected individuals all understand this simple truth. Words lose value when they are overused, but silence amplifies meaning. It creates mystery, protects your energy, and forces the world to pay attention when you finally do speak. Mastering silence doesn't mean never speaking. It means choosing when and how to speak for maximum impact. It means refusing to be controlled by emotion, refusing to give away your power, and refusing to explain yourself to those who will never understand your worth. So the next time you feel the urge to justify, defend, or react, pause. Let your silence do the work. Watch how people reveal themselves, how situations unfold in your favor, and how your presence alone commands respect. Because in the end, those who control their words control their destiny.